Hello, and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. I cannot control their fear. I can only control mine. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
Oh, I was like, is that from this movie? I forgot about that quote.
It's like the best quote of the movie, maybe.
Oh, I don't have like words. All I can see is him burying his dog, which I cry every time. I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty hectic. But we've got Cameron Mickle on the pod.
Benny, shut up.
Benny, shut up. And we've got Cameron's friend, Drew. Can't remember his last name. What's your last name, Drew?
Branson.
Drew Branson.
Actually, I don't know if I want to say mine. It's so sad. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Do you see anything? Nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Yes.
You see these eyes twitching? These eyes ain't twitching.
Oh, I should have just said Lucas. I just like how they pronounce his name.
Lucas. Yes.
Oh, Lucas.
Today we're talking about the hunt.
Danish is so sick. Such an interesting language.
Yeah, it sounds awful though. Everyone's voice sounds super hollow, like they're being possessed by a devil. Maybe that's racist of me to say, but I just like I don't know. That's kind of what it sounded like. Guys, today we're reviewing The Hunt. The Hunt. For the Red October. Just kidding. This movie came out in 2012.
Yeah, and not the new Hunt movie.
Not the 2020.
Yeah, not the Hillary Swank. Yeah, not the
Mads Mikkelsen.
The Hunger Games. Yeah. The rich hunting poor people. This is Mads Mikkelsen, directed by Thomas Vinterberg.
And the original title is Jagden, I think. That's how you say it.
Jagden. I think it's pronounced Jag-10, Cameron.
Something like that.
Yeah. It stars Mads Mikkelsen, which, gotta say, if you don't know the context of the movie, anything about it, just look at the poster. I have to give him credit that they make it ambiguous, because they could have chosen a much sadder face from Mads Mikkelsen. And that whole scene, I don't see the face he makes on the poster of this movie. If you guys look at IMDb, you know what I'm talking about.
No,
Mads Mikkelsen looks guilty as sin, is my point. No,
that's the scene where he looks back.
He looks back at his friend.
I know the scene, guys. I'm saying the screen grab they grabbed, he looks a little bit more menacing than all the other shots. Like, they grabbed the one screen frame where his eyes are slightly more close. I'm just saying, look at the photo and you understand what I'm talking about. The whole scene, I don't see that freeze frame. I watched it closely and I was like, does he make that face? I'm just saying, look at the image. And it's impressive because, again, this movie really makes you think, because I have a big moral question I need to ask you. If Mads Mikkelsen character did the abuse, do you think that all the sweet vigilante justice that the townsfolk invoke on him is warranted and a good thing? Is there a point where you sign off and you're like, no, you're taking it too far?
I mean, murdering the dog is definitely too far if he did.
Right. You don't kill an innocent life.
Yeah.
Or even beat up on the... Well, then again, they didn't beat up the son until he assaulted, he spat on her face.
Well, no, I think assaulting him in the store is also passing the line.
Yeah,
like,
public space.
Throwing the cans at him like he was.
I'd like some pork chops. Oh, we don't have any meat for you. Oh, I'm sorry. Those pork chops. We don't serve your kind here. Get out. Dude, the throwing cans at his head, comes back in the store bleeding. That was the only swift justice. I love it. After they killed his dog, he ended up doing like an amazing, just killed everyone, pulled John Wick and just killed everyone in the town, you know?
That's what I was waiting for. I was just, I
as soon as the dog's dead, it's like, John Wick's like, I know how you feel, man. Anyway.
Yeah, this movie's like John Wick if he went to therapy.
And if he was
therapy. Where did he get the therapy? Everyone's just so mean. There's no therapy in this. This is such a sad movie. Cameron, what was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast for you?
Oh man, I think me and Jordan watched it together for the first time, and I hated every second of it. I was just so it was one of the first times I'd ever watched a movie where I was just so infuriated the entire time and hated every single character except for his son. His son, when I was watching it the first time with Jordan, I was like, he's the best character when he spits in her face. I was like, he's my hero, dude. I was like, when he's just like, stop telling lies to my dad. And then when he was like spit in the little girl's face, and then rewatching it, I just and just after I finished it for the first time, I was like, that was so amazing. And I'm so surprised that every time I rewatch it, like how well it holds up, and it almost gets even better. Like even though and I think that's also kind of what I'm going to get into about one of my favorite things about it. I think just the way they navigate the story just is just so well done, and it's just like it's so like even though I know exactly what's going to happen going into it, like I just it's just like irks you and makes you just so frustrated the entire time at like how everyone's treating him and just like people jumping to conclusions.
For sure. How about you, Drew?
First time watching it was for the pod as well. I don't know. I like it was a sad movie, but for me, I just felt tense the entire time. Like it wasn't like I wasn't like I don't know, distraught, but I was like I was tense. I didn't know what to expect in any scene that showed. I was just like, I don't know what's happening. Kind of like I don't know what to expect.
And Drew, multiple times when like during the show, he was just like, "These people are so stupid. Like they don't even know. They're jumping to conclusions." It was so funny.
Yeah, when I was doing like a little bit of research, like some like video essays or like synopses on it online and stuff, just reading it and watching videos and stuff. A lot of the people talked about how like what the dangers of assumption are. And to me, what I felt was the danger of like a community deciding on something based off of like assumptions, like how dangerous like a group mind can be, or I don't want to say hive mind, but like when everybody acts.
Oh yeah,
like there's
all the kids. Yeah, we all saw his basement.
Yeah, they're all,
please, he didn't even have a basement. You freaking kids! Oh, the kids never lie. He didn't abuse me. I told a lie. Well, you're not lying now, sweetie. She either lied then or she's lying now. So she lied. You just you completely falsified what you just said. You're going back on what you just said.
She doesn't lie. She's 4.
You're
never said a lie in her life.
You think it's such a bad thing. You're trying to block it from your mind, sweetie. It's like she doesn't understand coping mechanisms. She doesn't know how to compartmentalize because she's a fetching booger nose, snot nosed child. She doesn't know how to compartmentalize, and they're projecting, oh, you must be doing this because they're gaslighting their daughter, like, hey, you just don't want to remember this abuse. And she's like, and then he's like, why'd you lie? And she's like, I didn't lie. My parents say I gotta keep going along with this. So crazy, dude. Oh,
and I would also even add, like, it started to feel like a thriller at like just the weird parts of the movie, like the rock going through the window. I was like the music like cuts out. I don't know, that got me a little bit. I was waiting for something to happen. Nothing does, but
well, besides the fact he walks out and finds his dog, like
that. I mean, yeah.
Or how about the hunt at the end? I mean, there's something.
That was so good.
No, and I hear what you mean. Like the release of tension. You hope it's there, but you're like,
yes,
we don't know who threw the rock. We don't know who killed his dog. We don't know who.
I also have
there's
to
no
say,
release.
Yeah, I also have to say at the end of when we watched it together, we rewound it like 17 times and like paused it and would look at people's
the silhouette.
And
who is it? Who is it?
We could not find it. We looked at every single person's outfit, like the necks, like everything that they're wearing, and nothing matched. It had to have been something that somebody put on.
That's the thing that bothers me most about this movie. The one person that should be arrested for indecent exposure is the big fat guy who ends up wailing on Mads Mikkelsen the most in this movie. I'm like, you're the only I saw in this entire film, so I don't know why he jumping off the dock in the pier at the beginning. I'm like, if anyone should be under investigation, it's that guy. He was way too comfortable being in front of all of his friends. I'm just saying, point your ire at him. He's the guilty one. Jeez, Mads Mikkelsen is so innocent. But then you're like, he's good with kids, and I'm like, why? It's just, it's awful. It's like he's a kindergarten teacher or whatever, right? And all the kids love him, and they all attack him, and they all like him, and it's like, anyway.
Well, and he's such a likable, good person. Yeah.
This movie's painful. This is like one of the more painful movies I've ever seen. And rewatching it was even more painful because I forgot a lot of the things. I always remember the ending. I'll never forget the ending of this movie. But I did remember the dog because I was thinking of Banshees of Inisherin. There's something kind of like that in that movie. And I remember thinking, like, that's horrifying. The casualties, the innocent victims of Little White Lies, and seemingly important, right? Like this, Clara probably didn't even understand any repercussion of what she said. But I think her pervert brother and friend should be the ones jailed because they've caused all this. But anyway, yeah. There
It's
is
hard because
interesting.
you can't
Okay.
point fingers at anybody in the movie. Like nobody is really too lame.
But what me and Drew were talking about is that
Yeah.
the person who like the specialist to come in and help, he was asking such leading questions. Like you don't ask a question
Yes.
where a child can just say yes. It's like, did some like anything? You cannot ask that question. You need to ask their experience and have them, like, as traumatic as it might be, they need to express themselves, not say like, oh, and did he beat you over the head a couple times? Because then all the kid has to go is,
Yeah, especially when the little girl like keeps looking behind her shoulder because she's like, I want to go out and play in recess. You can
Yes.
go, just answer these questions really quick, and once you're done answering it, then you can go play.
It's like,
So she's like, okay, yes.
he beat me. Can I go play now? Yes, get on with it, please.
Yeah.
End this misery. I just want to go play with my friends. Oh my gosh, so painful. Yeah, this movie was painful. Jordan, how about you, man? Rewatching it was even more painful. How about you,
I'm
dude?
trying to remember if it was on Netflix or if YMS recommended it. I know he has. I just don't remember if I saw it before or after his recommendation. But yeah, first time I watched it, just you get that, and it's crazy because Cameron said on rewatch it's so good. It is, but like I'm still so shocked that that upset this feeling in the pit of your stomach where you just like feel like your stomach drop. Like it never goes away, even though I know it happens. It's always there, and it's like the most horrible feeling. I've never felt so much suspense, I don't think, this intensely for any other film. I mean, I've definitely felt suspense in like Uncut Gems and a lot of other films, but this one, it just makes you feel so sick to your stomach. And it's the worst feeling of all time. And I think I've watched this 3 times now. I actually didn't watch it with you, Cameron. I think every time we're ready to watch it, I'm always like, I can't do this movie right now.
oh, you're
It's
right. I
too
did
much.
watch it by myself.
Yeah.
Now that you say that. Yeah.
And then but
I was just texting you throughout the thing the entire time. I was like, I hate
oh,
this
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
girl.
You're
It's
like, she
I
needs to
can't do it.
freaking die, this little
Gertrude,
Go on
girl.
without me.
Yeah,
No,
I did watch it a second
That's what
time
we'll go.
with my mom, and I can't believe I convinced her to watch it, but it's and we
we
just discussed it because I needed to talk about this movie with somebody. It's like, I'll just put my mom through this horrible film.
Yeah,
And
aside from the subject matter, because that's the heaviest part. The
Yes.
movie is tame, I would say. What dare I say it? Like, because again, it's not. There's definitely explosive moments like grocery store, the dog,
well,
and the ultimate climax is very
but I
horrifying.
love what Drew
but
said is it's you never get that release of tension. It's just like throughout the entire film, you're like waiting for somebody to like I guess when he hits that headbutts that guy for a second, there's like a release of like,
yes,
and when he
some
punches the other
justice,
guy, his
some
old friend in the
retaliation.
face in the church, like there's that moment of like, finally somebody feels something because like it's like painfully slow too. Like every time something happens, like even when people are like laughing and getting together, you're that overarching feeling is still there, and you're like, oh, like please let this feeling go away. Like, can there be some resolution? So this film, I almost didn't even want to watch it on this new watch because it's just so painful to get through, but it's so good.
Yeah,
I think just adding on to that, like you like that release of tension, you don't get that release even when they say that he is cleared because it like
Yes.
it's said so like nonchalantly, like there's no like
Yeah.
real like
oh, the kids were lying.
yeah.
You're good to go.
Like that,
Okay.
exactly.
I
That-
had my
you
head
still feel it,
a
you know?
can throughout my head. Can I get some reparations for that or something, dude? It's crazy.
Well, and even a year later, when he's looking around the room and he doesn't know if those people still look at him with disgust or if they're just looking at him normal, like he'll never know that it'll be haunting him forever. That's why me and Cameron talked about this. He should move. I'm sorry. That's the
no, but see, he
get
loses when he
out of
does because if he
town.
loses, it proves he's guilty. Is
I don't
sin
care.
if he
Those
loses.
I don't
people can
care.
live their rest of their
Change your
life
name.
thinking whatever they want. Yeah,
Done.
I'm moving, bro. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well,
No, I'm
sometimes
sorry.
you can't move though. Like what if he couldn't? I agree with Ty. Like I think
Yeah,
that
to be
if he
fair,
leaves,
he's a
he just-
teacher
he
salary.
loses.
He's probably not rolling in the dough, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And just as a quick synopsis of the plot, it's just a teacher
Yep.
lives a lonely life, all while struggling over his son's custody. His life slowly gets better as he finds love and receives good news from his son, but his new luck is about to be brutally shattered by an innocent little lie.
Emphasis on brutally.
emphasis on slowly. Yeah, his life is slowly gets better. Yeah, this movie, you know, it's funny. It's like the little victories, but like, no, it's the little. What's the opposite of victories? Failures. It's like, yeah, it's just like it's chipping away at his armor, right? The
Yeah.
whole movie, you're just taking this character down and down. Because at first, it's like, I heard something from a student. okay, well, maybe you should take a few days off. Let's figure it out. And then just slowly, it's like, we're having this meeting about you behind your back. And then it's like, why won't you talk
And
to me?
let's say that
Just tell me what happened. Tell me who it was.
That's such an inappropriate thing to say. To say that to like help disclose or keep it safe or whatever it's called, confidentiality. To say that multiple people were when only one, that is so unfair. Like that's like not even.
Just
Like,
adds to the assumptions.
yes, like that is
Well, and then
just one.
she's like, and then we're going through like some kids have sleep deprivation, and we asked other parents, and like, oh yeah, my kid had that too. Oh my gosh,
So general. Like
My kid was
so many different things.
no, it reminds me of like a Google search when you're like, oh, I have a headache, and you look up and you're like, I have like stage 3
brain
cancer.
tumor
I'm
and
going to
stage 4
die.
cancer of the
Yeah.
brain. Yes.
Like it's just like, of course.
No, Cameron, you look
of
up your
course-
symptoms and it says you have network connectivity issues.
Yeah, exactly, from Parks and Rec. But like, see what I'm saying is like, if you ask somebody, oh, does your 6-year-old sleep the perfect 8 hours a night? It's like, oh,
Just do they still
Has
wake
your
up
child been
Right.
acting out? Has your child
went-
yelled
he
and
went
thrown
to bed, so
fits?
maybe
Oh
he's
my
being
gosh, my
touched.
child's a victim of abuse. No, that's just bad parenting, folks, or it's just regular parenting. Kids do this. Like, here's a good litmus test. You see, kid, did you eat the chocolate cake? Cake, face smeared in cake. Nope. You're like, kids lie. They lie all
Never
the
lied,
time.
Ty. She's never lied.
She
They
never
never-
lies. Never, ever, ever.
Not about things like this. I'm like, they don't
Oh.
even understand what this is.
Yes.
They don't understand the gravity and the severity of.
So Cameron is don't believe all children, don't believe all women, right?
Kill 'em
Cameron?
all.
Can I pencil you down to
Oh jeez.
kill them all?
Well,
You know what's so funny, Cameron? I have a dark mind when I was watching it. When Clara goes over to Matt Mikkelsen's place, he's like, "Well, everyone thinks I already abused you, so I just like hits her." Just starts hitting her at the door, like everyone thinks I already abused you, so might as well get some sweet justice, dude. Just kick her off your doorstep, dude. Just boom. Anyway,
Put the money
That
where
was
your
awful.
mouth
I'm
is,
saying
Clara.
yeah, I am not advocating for child
I know,
abuse.
and
Just
you-
Clara.
in that moment too, there's so many times you just want to scream at her, like, are you?
Okay. Also, biggest pet peeve of the movie and just of Mads Mikkelsen. Why are you picking her up at the end? I would never
know.
touch that child ever again. When
Uh-uh.
she's like, I can't touch all the cracks. I'm like, what? Your mom's gonna break her back. See ya. I'm
Dude,
like,
kick her across the room. Like I said, that's my idea, Cameron. You're still my
dude, I would never get near her ever.
Yeah,
again.
turn and run in the opposite direction. Just make sure you're always with
Be
somebody.
in a room alone picking her up. Nope, not worth it.
I think it's great too. Like they do a really good job at showing how every relationship in his life has been impacted with his son, the townsfolk, even his girlfriend. Like they do a really good job at where
Mm.
she's even like, I mean, she came over here. I just have a question. And he's like, oh, so you look at me this, and he may have even snapped a judgment throwing her out of the house, but you understand where he's coming from. It's like my entire life is being ruined because people don't trust me. Even the ones that are supposed to be closest to me and that know me the most intimately, they have to ask, and the fact that they have to ask is really painful. So yeah, I do like that, and the way they shot it when he enters that church, the way the camera was shot, it made it feel like all eyes on him, and I thought that was a really
Yes.
well done scene where he's in the church and you just see the back of his head, and and he's sitting there and he's like scratching at the back of you just
Yeah.
see him like almost peeling his skin off. It's just so
Well, and I love the shot
intense.
from his point of view back at them, and she's like leaning over, whispering to him.
oh, I know.
you're
He
just
looks
like,
back and they're
What is she
talking about it.
saying?
Yes.
And then he's starting to like shake his head, like, yeah, yeah. And you're like, and he walks up to him, what are you saying? And I'm just like,
I love it. What are you saying? He's just
Yeah.
like shake
Just
my
sort of-
face essentially. Like
when
I'm
the
so
wife
sick
just
of
starts
all the
wailing on
other
his back and he
that.
starts throwing things at his head.
I seriously hate his wife. I'm sorry. But when he's like getting dinner for Christmas and she's like, what are you doing? Where are you going? I'm just like, knock her out. I
I thought it was another great thing. So a few things. One, is it at all possible that was his best friend sending a signal? Because he did say, if I find out that you abuse my daughter, I will put a bullet in your head. I'm just saying that's the only veiled threat. I mean, not veiled threat. I'm just saying he literally said the
Verbal
words, I'll put a
threat.
bullet. And I was
That's
like,
the only one
that's
spoken into existence. I actually think it was Clara's older brother.
Yeah,
I actually think that one too.
Oh.
I
look
think
that
it's,
he gives him. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't care if you're innocent or guilty. He's like, you deserve to die.
I think it was either Claire's brother, which ironically
I
is,
also think that
he
he
and his
might have-
friends.
He might have had bad enough aim to miss, but for me, I feel like it was almost an intentional miss. So that's why I feel like it might not be him.
I
So
think
that
it was
might be
intentional
the
miss.
adult,
I think it was
like
a threat.
like a warning shot of like,
Yeah.
I don't care if they say that you didn't do it. I know you're sick.
Well, because he could have easily taken another shot if he did miss.
Yeah, he was
but
right
he
there,
disappeared.
and he was
he
just ready
just
to.
fired, letting him know, hey, like, I'm always never going to trust you. And this is interesting. We see Mads Mikkelsen's eye twitch again at the very end. Do you guys notice that right before it cuts to black? Now, mind you, he only twitches his eye if he's lying. What I think he is doing here, essentially, I think his eye is twitching because he's trying to convince himself that things are going to be okay. Like you see him with his wife, see him with his son. Now, I don't think he's lying. It would be a great cut at the end. You just see it like hover over his house, and then it just goes through the ground, and then like it
There's a
cuts to like an
basement?
underground basement. He's got children locked up. I'm just kidding.
Really
That doesn't happen, but it'd be really funny. But his eye twitches, and I think to me that
would be some
signified
Disturbia
that
stuff.
yeah, Disturbia. I think it signifies that he's like trying to convince himself that it's behind him. But again, the gunshot going off is literally living proof that it's not. And his eye twitches because he's like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have to lie to myself, convincing myself that I'm now back in society and everyone's good graces. And that's a lie. He has to lie to himself now, which is really tragic because even after he's been exonerated, the stink is still there. Like everyone, even the people that have made their mind up, don't know anything about it. They're just like, oh, I heard that. Therefore, part of it is true. Some of it's true. None of it's true. It doesn't matter. It's there. So defamation cases, man, are crazy. So
I think another thing, just real quick on the ending. I also think it so very easily just could have been anyone in the community.
yeah.
Like,
And there's a reason we don't see it. Yeah,
door.
we just see the
Exactly.
silhouette. It's intentionally done that way because it's like, I don't even think we're to understand that Mads Mikkelsen didn't even see who it was because he like looks up and he can't see. So it's like we're to understand he doesn't know who it is, which is tragic too. Because it's like I'm sure he'd love to sit down and be like, look, what can I say to make this right? Because
there's nothing he can.
Yeah. They've already have their mind made up. So
yeah.
Golly, I want to keep talking, guys. I actually have to hop off now, but I love you guys. I've seen so many movies. We'll talk, but I went and saw Evil Dead Rise today in theaters, and I saw Dungeons and Dragons in theaters. Both great movies. So excited to talk about them.
Good.
So.
I'm glad you liked it. I was worried at recommending that one.
I still want to see Sisu. Maybe I made the wrong choice, but we'll find out later.
Yeah.
So when I finally see it. Hey guys, thanks for chatting. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
If you want to get into the two favorite things.
Yeah.
Do you want to start it off, Jordan?
Oh, I mean, a lot of it's already been mentioned, but obviously the camera work is amazing. I don't even know what to say. This whole movie as a whole is like practically perfect. Just because of how it makes me feel, though. That's the only reason I debate about putting it in my top 100 because it deserves to be there, but oh my gosh, does it make me feel
7.
things? And
It's like 7 for me. Like,
oh, really?
Such a good movie. I don't ever want to see it again. Like I hate that movie, but it's so good, and that's what it feels like with this movie too.
That's so funny. I just rewatched it. It's so good. Yeah, this one is a hard rewatch for me. Oh, just because it makes me feel so sick. But goodness gracious, I'm glad I stuck it through because I kept pausing it and I'm like, I don't want to watch this movie right now. It's really fun to rewatch with people that haven't seen it because it's like share my burden.
Yeah.
Putting myself through this.
And it almost puts me at like you at more ease because then like someone else and you can just kind of laugh at how much they're hating it.
Cameron showed me and Grant at the same time.
Yeah.
And so he was able to watch while we're watch our reactions
while you were suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful.
So I feel like that's what this movie does best is once you carry that burden, sharing it with others, you can lighten your load. So there's my two favorite. I mean, obviously the performances were amazing. I was just thinking about actually on this viewing, the director, like I'm like, this is how they need to use actors because I've seen Mads Mikkelsen in some films that some directors just don't know how to use them, but this director is like, he just knows how to, it just feels so organic and real, and nobody feels like they don't belong, which is amazing that we can feel that even though it's in a different language.
And there's so many characters too. Like
yes.
It all feels natural.
Yes.
And you said it well.
At times I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is I mean, I never wonder in this movie if there's bad acting, but I just wonder though, if I did speak that language, would I ever think that? I don't know, but I feel like it seems flawless to me, but I guess I wouldn't know unless I spoke the language.
And you want to go?
Sure. I agree. The performance is what got me. Mads is one of my favorite actors of all time. I just love him. I back in Royale was when I was like,
yes.
This guy is so cool.
Yeah.
I think he just made such a cool Bond villain that like we haven't really seen before, like the really methodical kind of, but at the same time, like he's also in trouble. Like he answers to someone too. And so like there that's a different discussion. But there's another drama with Mads called Arctic that I really, really liked. It's like a survival drama almost. Very good. Like he just like I think he just grasps like the idea of drama so well to me. Like because it's like his face can be so expressionless, but his eyes, like I don't know, like we see it in the movie. Like my quote from the beginning is what I liked the most about the movie was probably second most. I just like when he's like, look in my eyes, like there is nothing. Like I believed it. Like
Yeah.
his expressions through his eyes are so impressive to me. And then my second favorite is the ending. I think like I don't know what it is, but I told Cam I'm like this is the greatest ending I've ever seen in any movie ever. Like I just like it felt so like unexpected that it blew me away because of how perfect the ending felt to me.
Yeah.
Like I just like I wouldn't change a single thing about it. Like
Yes.
I really like a good open-ended ending. And that felt very ambiguous. Like I loved the idea of like we don't know who it is and like did he miss on purpose and he decided not to take the second shot? Did he was it like what you guys said like a warning shot? Just a mix of like the colors and like the atmosphere of the like the environment. Like it felt like what's it called? Because like it's coming off of like Christmas, like springtime is coming, so it's like it's the idea of like new life idea, and like you're expecting it, but then that scene just proves that like I don't think Mads will ever be able to live his life like he did before. Um, and another thing that I think is so interesting is the idea of like hunting. Like deer don't know that they're about to get shot most of the time. You know, like they don't know that they're being hunted. And I feel like it's a similar thought with him because I don't think anybody was expecting the grocery guys to beat him up, and like I don't think he was expecting like a lot of that. It's just a similar idea where like he does not know when he's gonna get shot. You know, he doesn't know if he's being hunted or not. And I think that ending scene just like really sends that message home of like it's never the same. He's not really safe. Like he might think so, or he might lie to himself, like what Ty was saying. But you know, we like he doesn't know, we don't know. Like I loved it. I really did.
Well,
The
I don't know
ending.
if you were getting at this, but I feel like there's a lot of misplaced rage and anger and just feelings. Like in the grocery store is a great example of like perhaps the town people were never like planning to kill, I mean, to beat the crap out of him or whatever, but it's just like, I don't know if it's maybe misplaced isn't the right word because the people are obviously all upset and angry at him, but I don't know. It just seems like
Well,
they're trying
I
to
think it's
create
just
a villain. What?
misunderstood, and like it's just ignorant, like anger, because
Yeah.
like they think what they're doing is like righteous and like
Yeah.
just like and justified because of what the supposed actions of him, but like that's when it also ultimately comes down to like complete understanding and the lack of like thorough investigation and just how quickly group think can just cause things to like spiral out of control. And that kind of leaning on that same thing what you guys have been talking about is like my favorite thing about the film is I just think it's so impressive how like discussionable this movie is. Like there's so many different things, like there's so many different themes you can get from this movie, and there's so many different like creative choices that you can talk about, like just like we talked about with the ending. You can also talk about with Fanny, like who would have killed, like there's so many different things that I because it was something that I thought of rewatching it for the second time, is I was like, I wonder how different this movie would have been if you didn't know whether or not he did it. And I was kind of thinking of like, what if it just showed her telling that, and then we're left up to suspense, and just kind of how different of a movie that it would be. And what kind of surprised me is like, I feel like it would still have more suspense knowing that he didn't do it, because because for me it shows the difficulty of Mads Mikkelsen's life, because then it's like, you know, he didn't do it, but like you're almost being convinced into that he did it by the way others are treating him.
Just like other people were convinced.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's just one of those things that it's just so crazy that you're like, you've seen what happened and know for a fact that it didn't happen, and yet you can like start to get doubts just based on how many people are just like, oh my gosh, and saying all these outlandish things. Like that's what's so crazy about groupthink. And then my second favorite thing kind of goes along with I just think the pacing of this film is just like you talked about, like, and not like it's been mentioned, just so well. And that goes along with the cinematography and even with like his voice and like the tone in which he speaks. It's so interesting. In the beginning of the film, he's like oftentimes when he's speaking to children, he like squats down to their level. We'll talk in a very calm like voice and make eye contact. And then like later in the film, a lot of the shots are like farther away from him, as if like, oh, don't get close, like this guy's dangerous or creepy. And then you just see how that also, like, that isolation has caused him to like, there's multiple times where he has outbursts, like he just like will yell. And like especially, I mean, with the climax of the like the third to last scene at the church, of him just like losing it and being like yelling in a public setting, like so out of character for him. But it's like this isolation has pushed him to the brink of insanity, to where he's almost like, it kind of reminds me of Joker, like the you get what you effing deserve. Like he's just like, you guys have just isolated me to such a degree, like, and you, my best friend, like don't believe me, and taking everyone else's side because it's easier. It's the easier wrong than that, like the harder right.
Oh, I'm surprised, Cameron. I thought you would quote Taxi Driver because we just watched that one.
I know, I was thinking about that as well though. But and also because I wrote my theatrical film analysis for my, it was one of my final papers from my film class about this movie, because there's so many amazing things, even like the color palette, and like the in the beginning it's super vibrant, and then the farther the light spreads, just the darker everything gets. And his like room, the colors
It's
are also,
colder too.
yeah,
Colder.
it's just like it just seems like there's less life and less like purpose and
Less
feeling.
color, yeah. It feels unsaturated, just very like kind of almost like a sickness that's kind of spread through the town. Ugh.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just, I mean, it's amazing.
Any more thoughts, Cameron, about Hunt? I know we could
No,
probably talk for hours about it.
yeah, no, just it's just so amazing, and the performances as well as the cinematography. I mean, the production design, just kind of every aspect of this film is amazing, and the fact that it was in the Sundance Film Festival, and it was like the first Danish film since like 1989 or something like that. It's like, or like put in the film festival, just like amazing, and like definite. It's a
The
definite.
first and their last. I bet the audience was like shook. They're like,
Yeah, I know. Because like, especially most of the films at Sundance Film Festival was such like feel
indie,
good,
like,
yeah.
colorful.
Where it's just like, oh my gosh, teenage like coming of age, and then it's just like this, and everyone was probably like,
Brutal.
I'm gonna stay away from children
Brutal.
for the rest of my life. But yeah, this one's easy to recommend, and kind of like Ty mentioned, it's honestly like obviously a heavy topic, but like pretty tame, and like there's pretty much just like two scene, like yeah, like three scenes that you need to skip.
yeah, that's what
And
I
just,
did with Mom, and it was amazing. It's
yeah,
powerful. And I just explained to her what it is that she missed. So
yeah. No, but and then Drew recommend.
Absolutely. Like it's again, like it's a 7 for me, like the movie 7. Um it's just, it's such a good movie, like well made, like great performances, like hard to say anything like cinema, like based off of film, hard to say no to, but because of how heavy the message is, or like how difficult like the idea of it is, I would say it's a little bit of a harder watch. It depends for me. I would say yes, but
Yeah, it's number 23 on my top 100.
I still go back and forth about it.
And what about you, Jordan? Do you recommend?
Uh yes. I have shown many people and told them to watch it. Maybe not their first recommendation. I'd put it on the list of, if they're like, if you're a movie buff, then it's definitely needs to be on your list. If you're
You're
just
right,
looking for an escape, this is not
Yeah.
it.
If you want to be entertained, go watch Transformers or Dungeons and Dragons. Don't throw on The Hunt. Like,
But
not
if you're
not
looking for a very serious discussion too, I think it's one you need to watch with somebody,
yeah.
because you will definitely want to talk about it afterwards.
Because yeah, also if you watch it alone, like I did, you feel like you're going crazy. Where you're
Yeah.
like, am I the only person who sees what's going on? Start to feel like Mads Mikkelsen. Um, but then we end every movie podcast talking about what we've seen lately and what we're looking forward to. I'll just start off real quick. So I spent the weekend at Jordan's and been grinding movies.
Yeah, we did a quadruple feature.
Oh
Yeah.
wow,
But then yesterday, me and Drew started
the D&D movie.
the D&D movie. Super fun.
Yeah, I
We actually
watched it. It was fun.
we actually started at 5:30 a.m. But
Oh my gosh.
because neither of us could sleep. Um, but super good. So at least what I've seen so far, I'm excited to finish it. And then what did we watch on Monday? Oh, we just watched basketball.
Mhm.
Oh no, we watched End of Watch. Yeah, that I mean, super good to rewatch it again. And then watch Surfs Up with Jordan, amazing on the rewatch, even better than I remember. Watch Justice League Paradox, the Flashpoint Paradox,
That's
even
right.
better than I remember. Then watch There's Something About Mary. Oh no. There's, I
Better than the
laughed
Heartbreak Kid, though, right?
way better than the Heartbreak Kid. I laughed a lot in There's Something About Mary, but at the same time, like there's something about Ben Stiller movies like that just kind of make me uncomfortable multiple
Yeah.
times. Like, and then watch Scream with Jordan. That was so much fun. Oh yeah, and then Surfs Up 9, Justice League Flashpoint 9. There's Something About Mary 6, and then Scream. Me and Jordan were laughing so much. Oh my gosh, that movie is so funny. And I was the entire time I just could not get Scary Movie out of my head.
Yeah.
Every single time they showed what's his name,
Dewey.
Dewey. Yeah, I just kept thinking of Doofy from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And how they just literally made him like a special needs police officer. It's just so disrespectful. So funny though. Um, I watched Old Boy. I hated it, but I gave it an 8. I mean, I'll never be the same. It's like, yeah, it's one of the most insane. Well, Jordan told me it was the most insane revenge movie. I was expecting the entire time for him to get back at the bad guys. The entire time, like, when is he gonna get revenge on him? And then I'm just like,
Careful, careful. I want to see it.
I'm like, he's not getting revenge. And then just the entire time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most horrific thing that anyone could ever do to anyone.
Yep.
And then watch Taxi Driver, insane. Not as good as Joker for me personally, but I mean, obviously, got a lot of inspiration from that. And Jordan
But it is
mentioned
fun to see kind of where Joker got its inspiration.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's his name's performance?
Ugh.
Robert De Niro, insane. It's crazy to see him that young.
Yeah.
And then I've been grinding on Ted Lasso. I started it last week per Lindsay Barlow's recommendation, and she's been pushing that on me like heroin. And then, man, the moment I took it, I was addicted, and I'm already on season 2, episode I think 2 or 3. So good. And then watched The Covenant with Jordan. Oh, I think I already talked about this. And yeah,
We did on the pod, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I'm considering potentially going to see Beau is Afraid with Drew. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. So I do have to say something. I've rewatched Beau is Afraid with my wife, and she cried at the end a lot. And she was like, why did they treat him so badly? And I'm like, you can't take it so literally. But yeah, she was really broken up and upset about it. So I'm like, I was second guessing myself if I should recommend it to people. But I took my roommate as well, and he enjoyed it. Oh, I mean, I absolutely loved it. Second time through, like I had a hard time loving it just because I knew it was stressing her out. Because she likes to go to movies to enjoy and escape, and this was like
She's
embrace.
a big fan.
Yeah, this embraces all your fears.
The opposite of that.
Yeah. But for me, it was therapeutic. I felt like I was like, oh, and Cameron, watching it the second time, I actually caught a lot of things that I find interesting, but also at the same time, I'm like, if you watch it from kind of the first time you watched it, from that perspective of like, how literally can I take this? It's actually not very entertaining. It was because I was catching all the little things. I'm like, oh, from the very beginning, there's all these little details pointing to something that I won't spoil for Drew. But I thought about that, and I'm like, oh, there are little things. Like we were trying to figure out about the guy that puts little ankle monitor on his ankle. That's this in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But
Yeah,
that guy, remember he gets a note and he reads it from the mom, and he's like, what does this mean?
Stop incriminating yourself.
Yeah, well, that detail is, well, we'll get into it after. I don't spoil it for Drew, but I finally understood it this time watching it a second time through. So which I thought was kind of fun. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm back and forth about recommending it to people. If you're a film nerd, obviously I highly recommend it. And if you like Ari Aster's movies, but I just kind of I shouldn't
Freaking like Ari Aster's
I,
movie.
yeah, I shouldn't have taken my wife to it though. That was a mistake. My roommate did love it though. He thought it was great. Drew, what have you seen lately and what are you looking forward to?
I have seen a few recently, actually. End of Watch with Cameron. I actually was a big fan of that movie. I think the only thing I would change is I don't love shaky camera movies. They're kind of hard for
Yeah.
me to watch sometimes, but I really like as a whole the movie was really good. I really enjoyed it. I watched
Because it's Jake.
I really liked Michael Pena as well. He was awesome. Like he was like they're
Yes.
fun. They're a fun
Great
combo.
dynamic. Yeah.
Yes, good chemistry like with that.
Also, what a way to end that movie, to make sure that doesn't end on like a negative note, to show that like even though they like one of them died, spoiler, that
I love how you
By
say
the
it
way,
and
by
then
the
say
way.
spoilers.
that like I still love that it showed that like their friendship is what was the most important thing, like from their
He's my brother.
like yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I really liked that. I've seen the D&D movie twice already in theaters, 2.5 times technically. I love it. I recommend that to everybody. It's just such a fun, entertaining watch. It feels refreshing because it doesn't necessarily
It's
like
not a Marvel movie.
for me, yes, but like it doesn't it follows like the very classic like idea, like a trope of like those kind of like adventure movies.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell, like, especially if you know what D&D is, you can tell like it's so heavily influenced by D&D. Like there's a lot of like accuracies, and there's a few inaccuracies, but it is a movie.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated how much practical effects they used. I was like, this is great. They had like there's like a little lion. You saw like when he helped pull it out of that fish, and I was like, that was a little puppet. I love that.
It was that part was weird to me, but
It was weird.
like, it shows that he like I don't know. It just shows like NPCs are weird, and I feel like that's who he was. Was an NPC who happened to know too much, who was really good at everything. Like I don't know. That's what I felt, but like that just adds to the D&D like to me. Like that's why I liked it so much.
I was just happy that a studio gave a lot of money to people that weren't making a superhero movie. I was so happy. It just was like refreshing. I'm like, oh.
And I'm gonna go see it a few more times in theaters so that I can support them enough so that they make a second one, because I want another one so badly because it's so fun. It was one of the more fun movies I've seen in theaters. Like it's up there with like obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once is a significantly better movie, but like for me an enjoyment amount, like it's up there with that, I would say.
I think you might like Paddington too. I mean, it's got the same villain. It's just a similar, like, good feeling movie. Because that's what I walked away from this. I'm like, oh, I just had a good feeling, like coming from watching The Hunt, where it just like feels so gross and upset stomach. But this,
Or Beau is Afraid.
Yeah. Also, one you walk away just like,
Yeah, D&D is a light movie. It's a light watch.
Yeah.
It's fun.
A good family film, yeah.
And then I also watched this one other one called Harakiri, which is like an old like foreign classic from 1962. It's a Japanese samurai film. Really good. Like the writing is exceptional. And obviously I watched it translated, but wow, like really, really awesome writing. It is really slow. But the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes are awesome because like there's like actual fighting scenes and real katanas were used, which is so interesting. Like it was really cool. Like I was really impressed with it, and it's in black and white, and I've actually found that I have a deep appreciation for black and white movies. Like I just think it pulls the detail away from color, and focuses them on other things. And I really liked that. Like Lahain, I know that you saw it recently,
so
Jordan.
good.
I'm
How
a
do you
big
spell
fan.
Harakiri?
What was that? Harakiri. It's in like what is that called? The something collective?
Criterion Collection.
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh,
it's just
Harakiri.
like,
Yeah, I own it.
yeah.
I'm so I've there's so many movies like I try to add to my list, but I'll put that to the top of it.
I have a very long list. I don't know if I'd recommend it to everybody. It's so slow. Like it has a really fun like.
You're talking to the man whose favorite movie is Blade Runner and fell asleep the first 3 times watching it. So
Okay, it might be really good for you, Jordan. I was really impressed with it. It took me 3 separate times to watch it, So like I watched the first like hour, but then I fell asleep. I went to bed, and then I watched it a second time at school. But since I'm at school, I had class, so I had to turn it off. But anyway, I really liked it. I was a big fan of that movie. It was just like it was really impressive to me. Like I didn't watch a lot of old movies growing up. My parents don't really like movies and video games, and they don't listen to the same music that they used to. Like they're very progressive, let's say.
Okay.
And so like it was like it's a movie that I never would have expected to watch, but I saw it on some video somewhere. I don't even remember, but I just was like, I'm just gonna watch that because I love Japanese movies. Like I just really like samurai kind of stuff, and I was really impressed with the movie. Like it was just the storytelling was really interesting because it kept going back and forth, and the characters were cool. But yeah, I don't know how many times I can watch that. Like I don't think the rewatchability is super great, but I would watch the last like 45 minutes uh again. Like that was really good. I really like that.
Have you
Um
seen Seven Samurai?
that's on my
Okay.
list as well.
Okay,
Here,
yeah. I was gonna say supposedly that's like the most classic when it comes
Oh
to
yeah,
like samurai
yeah.
movies. Yeah, I heard that.
Because it's Tom Cruise.
Oh, is that wait?
No, that's the
No,
Last
Tom
Samurai.
Cruise is 47 Ronin, isn't? Or no,
No, that
47
that
Ronin is
was
Keanu Reeves.
yeah,
Right? Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a long list of movies to watch. Um, but I'll add that to it. And I think actually it's already on there. But anyway, big fan of Harakiri, big fan of D&D. Highly recommend that. The Covenant I watched with you guys, I really liked it. Not as much as D&D, but I am very biased, very biased. Anyway, yeah, those are kind of the things. I'm excited for the new Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't know that it was going to be the end of the trilogy. Like they won't be making any more, which is interesting. That doesn't
Hmm.
seem very Marvel-like to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say
A lot of money down the drain.
Yeah, that's what I think. But when I
that's
saw the trailers, it said that it's the end of the trilogy, so I'm all for that. I love Chris Pratt, so
as long as James Gunn keeps making stuff,
yeah, that's fair.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure Marvel can't get enough of him.
Mhm.
They know he brings in the big bucks. So I watched quite a bit of things. Cameron mentioned many of them already, all very fun. And then some new ones you guys mentioned, like Ty mentioned. I also saw Evil Dead Rise and absolutely loved it. But I love all the Evil
Was
Dead
it good?
movies.
Was it
I
like actually good, or are you like?
you're speaking to
You're talking to the most biased person of all time.
I
well
know
when it
Jordan's
comes
biased, but I want to know what he thinks about it.
when
Look
it
at the
comes
shirt he's wearing. He's wearing an Army of Darkness shirt.
yeah, it's literally yeah, this is literally the third movie in I guess they're calling it an Evil Dead universe now, but because there's 3 movies, a TV show, and then there's 2 remakes. So I don't know. As a standalone film, it works really well, and there was a lot to enjoy about it. I mean, there was so much. I mean, besides all the awesome gore, but what I love about it is just like the whole like finding a book underneath. Like there's like this earthquake, and it opens up this little tunnel, and the kid finds a book, and then when he opens up the book, it like just all the artwork, and when he's playing these old records, and like the sound is just like it's so cool. I just the only thing with these new movies is like it kind of lacks like what they get perfectly these days is things look so visually amazing. It's like I feel like I'm watching a 2-hour music video, but it just kind of lacks, at least with the old films, there was a lot more like style and kind of humor. And I feel like that they kind of did away with all that. Now it's just like they nailed the look of it. Everything just looks perfect. And I don't know, like that can get old really quick, but luckily there's more to enjoy about this film that I enjoyed. But so yeah, and Dungeons and Dragons, I'm glad you guys mentioned that one. That was a very fun one, very family friendly, just silly, fun movie. I do want to actually rewatch that with my wife. I think she'll enjoy it a lot. And then I watched Poltergeist 3 because they were talking about it on Red Letter Media. And oh boy, is it bad. But it was entertaining, not as good as the first movie, but there is stuff to enjoy about it because they used a lot of like stuff like in Last Night in Soho, Cameron, where they like do a lot of cool camera tricks with like, it looks like a mirror, but it's really actually just another girl on the other side. Like they did a lot of stuff like that.
They did that in Lahain as well.
Oh, did they really? Did you watch that?
No, but I saw a video where
I'd say about it.
talked about the scene when he's looking in the mirror. It's actually a person just mimicking his movements.
Are you serious? Oh wow. I don't know why they even needed to do that because there was no moment where
It's
he
a
like.
very, yeah. Oh, I love that movie.
Oh yeah, no, I do too.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that somebody took that from it. I don't know.
Yeah, because that moment doesn't seem like I don't know. That'll be one to analyze and talk about. I saw On the Waterfront. I'm going back and watching all these old movies. This is made 1950, so old black and white. The story is concrete. I really kind of wish they would do a remake of it because, oh boy,
Which
this is
one was it?
slow. It's called On the Waterfront. It has like amazing reviews, and it's actually Marlon Brando, which I have a hard time getting into his movies. Like it's fun because I go back and I watch like these old people like Charles Bronson and I'm like, oh, I'm hooked, or Clint Eastwood, and I'm like, I want to watch more of his movies. But with Marlon Brando, I don't know, maybe it's just a different time. So, but it's a powerful story, amazing story. So I understand why people love it. I do think it could use a remake. But yeah, and then I'm looking forward to the next season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which comes out next month.
Another one?
Oh, they're on what, like 30 something.
Oh,
They'll
wow.
never end. Oh no, maybe I'm thinking of South Park. No, South Park's only on 20. I think they're just on 15. Sorry.
So impressive. So
Simpsons, I think, is the only one that's made it to like 30.
They have a lot.
But yeah, they're getting
Oh,
far.
I did just recently watch La La Land for the first time.
Okay. Thoughts?
I don't get the hype. I don't. I think I need to give it another shot.
No,
but
I haven't finished it. I've tried twice, maybe even 3 times. I've started it twice and I just like can't get through it.
like Cameron
Haters.
knows that I like Ryan Gosling is like my favorite actor. Like I love Ryan Gosling. I don't know what it is, but that movie did not impress me as much as everybody's saying. Like the music is good, sure. Like the colors are fun, I guess, but I feel like
Because the
I feel
second
like
half's the best half.
I feel like people are trained to like those kind of movies because they're
No, see, because the first half's super hopeful, and then the second half is just like so depressing, but at the same time uplifting. Like it's just like it's more like realism and cynicism. So I think it's amazing. The first
I
half
just
is
gotta
like
give
way
it
too
another shot.
optimistic and just naive, but
Yeah, I don't know. I'll give it another shot, but was not impressed. I am just a hater though. Maybe.
Peace, y'all.
peace.